Rahim. Last time we wrapped up the story of Musa, or some of the lessons that we can get from the story of Musa. And today we are moving to the story of Yusuf. They write it and they pronounce it Joseph, but as we said, we'll stick to the Quranic pronunciation with the names of the prophets, which is Yusuf, as long as you know that Yusuf is Joseph. And the story is in the Bible, in Genesis, and in the Quran, and the similarities between the Bible and the Quran, they are very close, but there are differences. When we come to the differences, I will talk about, but in general, the Bible focused more on the incidents, and mentioned lots of names and who did exactly what and things, while the Quran probably focused more on the spiritual aspect of these events, the spiritual background and the spiritual impact of these particular events. The surah has been, most of, when I was talking about Musa, for example, or about Ibrahim, I had to jump throughout the Quran, from here, from there, to try to gather the information that we need to share here. Yusuf is an easier job. The whole story is included in one surah, and the name of the surah is Surah Yusuf, naturally. And the interesting observation is that this surah has been revealed in its entirety, one block. Usually most of the surahs of the Quran, they are revealed sporadically, and sometimes even with distance in time. Then at the final revision of the Prophet, he arranged the verses together in one surah. But Surah Yusuf and a few other surahs in the Quran have been revealed in its entirety. This has a significance, because it means that it is so connected, so intact, that it does not take fractionation. It has to be all together like that. And the surah have been revealed in Mecca, not in its entirety revealed in Mecca, not in Medina. The Yusuf, as we selected Musa because there is a wealth of lessons in group dynamics, in reaction of people, in function of leadership, and things like that, that served us a lot in looking globally, looking a bird's eye view to the movements and to the debates and to the dealing with tyranny and confrontations and testing, etc. The story of Yusuf is offering to us a different kind of atmosphere. It is not the very hectic, huge group dynamics of people, but it is based on the trials and tribulations of one person and his tribe, and how they evolved and developed. The story of Yusuf also have, if I say that the story of Musa has majesty, the story of Yusuf has beauty. There is a certain beauty in it. And if we say the story of Musa taught us practicality, in the story of Yusuf, it talks us purity and spirituality. Of course, there is overlap, but the main emphasis in Yusuf was emphasizing the beauty, the emotions, the spiritual development, and the testing of human desires that are a factor that plays on this planet Earth in a very important role. We have to have that in mind when we try to learn something from this story. And as we said several times, that Quran does not tell a story for storytelling. Quran gives the story as a context to offer a certain lesson. It is a lecture or a class, but through a drama. And from this drama, we learn the issues that we are supposed to learn. The Quran introducing this story to Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين. It starts by we, that's the majestic we of God, we God do relate unto you the most beautiful stories in what we reveal to you in that Quran or in that portion of the Quran. And here I want you to bear with me a little bit with the word naqussu, because the naqussu can be narrate, but also in the Arabic language, it is to trace something step by step. The guy, the expert in the desert who can tell you that someone took this path, goes to see the footprints of the camel step by step to take you from point A to point B to point Z. So it is more than just narration, it is to walk with you step by step towards a goal, a certain goal of knowledge, and towards a certain source of information. And say we give you the best narrations. Best in what? Means the best here, Ahsan al-Qasas, is not the most beautiful for the sake of just beauty, but because we need them, like the whole Quran. And this is the way this Quran has been revealed to you. And before that, وَإِن كُنْتَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ لَمِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ, that before this Quran, you were unaware of these issues. So the argument that some people use that Muhammad got his knowledge from the Bible or from other knowledgeable people in Arabia at that time is not what we Muslims believe in, because the Quran is stating here clearly that we are educating you, and before that you didn't have this knowledge. The knowledge, the education is starting at this moment, at least about this portion or about this event in the Quran. And it will go immediately to the body of the story. It is showing us Yusuf going to his father and saying, "Ya abati," and we talked about abati before, different from abi. It is my father, but in a loving way. My daddy or my papi or whatever. It is in a loving format. And he tells him about his dream that all of you are familiar with and aware. You heard it 10 times since you were in kindergarten, and you know the story that he saw a dream of 11 stars and the sun and the moon bowing to him, prostrating to him. I want here to talk about dreams in general, the way we, through Islamic thought and Islamic literature, understand the significance of dreams. Before we go to that, we let us talk about dreams. Speak as a doctor, at least for a moment. We know that all of us see all kinds of dreams and all kinds of nightmares and all kinds of dreams that we can relate to even our physical condition. If you eat a very heavy meal, you'll get a nightmare. Or if you are very happy, you might, whatever. And at least the modern psychology school says that the dreams are the sound of your subconscious to you. Things that you desire, or things that you hate, or things that happened to you as a child, or things that are stored in your memory, and they are expressed in dreams. However, when medicine improved and they started discussing and studying and talking about the brain function, which is easier to understand now than before, we know now that there is more complexity in the issue of dreams. At least they are not all the same. There are certain things that need further explanation, and we know now that you are always dreaming, even when you wake up in the morning and you say, I slept like a log, I didn't even see a dream. No, you actually dreamed, but your memory did not record it. And if you notice, you will find most of the dreams that you remember are dreams that happened when you were about to awake. But you cannot locate the time, because the function of the brain that decides the time is not functioning while you are asleep. So we know, at least current knowledge on pure medicine and pure psychology, that the issue of dreams is very complex and is very complicated. Nonetheless, the prevailing story is that at least there is one chunk of the dreams are subconscious recording of things that are coming in the form of dreams. And those who do psychoanalysis, they depend on dreams a lot to understand, or to claim that they understand certain things. When we look at the Islamic literature, we find that the issue of dreams, ru'ya, played a significant role. Ibrahim saw a vision, a dream, that he has to sacrifice his son. Here, Yusuf is talking about a very important dream, and later he will see another very significant dream. So it seems that it is not just that, at least to us, it is not just that. So what do we have in our Islamic theory about dreams? If you look at the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ, or in the narrations of the Quran, we know that we have three kinds of dreams. One kind, which is, as the Quran expressed, adghath ahlam. It's just mumbo jumbo, means nothing whatsoever. Then we have another kind of dreams that say min ash-shaytan, something satanic, something bad, whether it is from yourself or from outside, but it is a nightmare or something to scare you, or something to mislead you, or whatever. And there is a third kind of dream, which is a sort of, and please underline this, a sort of revelation. I don't know about you, but if you try to remember your experiences, you know that your dreams are not the same. You know that you might see a very elaborate dream and you wake up and it means nothing. And probably some of us know that they saw dreams that they felt that it is different. I know it is very subjective, but at least I know for sure that people saw in dreams things that happened later on, verbatim. So this cannot be a subconscious. And I'm talking about common people, not about pious people or about special people or whatever, but common people. And most probably if you look in your own memory, you will find experiences like that. And there are dreams that people try to say that they carry certain symbols, and of course this is a field for quacks and crooks and charlatans to play havoc with the minds of people. And some people claim that I can explain lots of things and predict the future if you tell me your dream. And there is now in the Arab world a channel for dreams, satellite. You tell the guy your dream and he tells you what to do, and this is of course nonsense. But because it is very uncontrolled subject of knowledge, you cannot tell which is which. But we have in our literature certain indicators that if you were very comfortable, if you prayed a good prayer before you sleep, if it comes after you pray at Fajr in your napping time, or if you felt that it is very clear in your mind when you woke up, or if you saw the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the dream, most probably this is a kind of that different kind of dreams that is a spirit thing, something to your spirit and your soul, not just the mumbo jumbo of Adghath Ahlam, neither is it from shaitan. By the way, the other category that the Prophet talked about is tahadduthu nafs, means yourself is talking to you. This is the subconscious dreams, typical. So in the Islamic literature, we acknowledged that there is part of the dream, the dreams that are subconscious, according to what Prophet Muhammad said before the development of psychology. And we know that there is this satanic thing, and we know that another, what we call ru'ya haqq, something of truth involved in it. And obviously that dream that Yusuf told his father about was one of those. He felt, and his father felt, that this is not just a dream. There is more into it than that. So let's go to the next one. The reaction of the father, and here is a difference between the Bible and the Quran. A subtle difference. The father said, "Oh my son, don't tell this dream to your brothers, to your siblings, because they will plot against you. Inna shaitan al-insani awduwwun mubin. Shaitan is the enemy, Satan is the enemy of the human being in an obvious way." This is the meaning of this verse. In the Quran is alluding that Yaqub, the father, heeded the dream and knew that there is something very special about it, and he then should keep it confidential. The story in the Bible did not clarify that. It is mentioned like, just don't let your brothers know because they will abuse you, period, without any indication that Yaqub himself, and to us Yaqub, Jacob, is a prophet, so he must have sensed that there is some special message in this vision that his son saw. And then the Quran says that this is how your Lord selects you and teaches you, I say it in Arabic, min ta'wil al-ahadith. They said, the commentators, min ta'wil al-ahadith means the explanation of ahadith. They said that God taught Yusuf how to interpret dreams. The meaning is wider than that, because a hadith means talks, a hadith may mean dreams, a hadith means the plural of events that happens. In other words, the translation here, that God bestowed upon you the knowledge of the significance of events that happens in a new way. So when a new event happens, Allah gave him that talent of being able to understand the significance of the new occurrence of something. In other words, you, Yusuf, Allah selected you to give you that innate ability to understand the significance of new events. To me, this is more attractive than just limiting it to interpretation of dreams. It is wider and broader than that. You will be a man of wisdom and of ability to analyze and the ability to understand when something happens. Because what the story in areas that are void of any dreams showed about Yusuf, that something can happen and he can analyze it and understand exactly the significance of that and acts accordingly. And this is how Allah bestowed His blessing upon you, like He bestowed the blessing upon the family of Jacob, Yaqub, and as He bestowed it on your forefathers Ibrahim and Ishaq, Abraham and Isaiah. Inna rabbaka alimun hakim, your Lord is knowledgeable and is wise. All of this is kind of like the introduction to the story, the opening, what you call it in TV industry about a movie, when it is the brief thing that is telling you what is coming. Here the Quran says there was in Yusuf and his brothers messages للسائلين, for those who seek the messages. And I consider this word here is very important. Let me see in the brother. No. Anyways.
The third line from the bottom?
Yeah. Yeah. For seekers of the truth. The message embedded here is not for casual reader or for casual observer. It is for those who seek the truth, the seekers, للسائلين, who are asking for it, they will get it. There are certain messages here for those who will seek the truth. What is the issue here? The brothers of Yusuf saying that Yusuf and his brother, according to the Bible is Benjamin, are more dear to our fathers while we are many. They are 9 brothers and 2 full brothers. The other brothers are not from the same mother. Yusuf and Benjamin are from one mother. The other brothers are from different mothers. For those also these days, because you are all, especially the young ones in school, are subject to intimidation, we did not invent polygamy. Right? There were many wives, brought so many siblings, and from one of them there were those two full brothers. From amongst the 11 children, 2 only were full brothers. The rest were from different wives. Not that I'm defending polygamy, but this is not, no I'm not, but this, and my wife is sitting here, but this is not the issue we are discussing. So the issue then is that this gang of brothers are upset because their father preferred those two. And here, of course, is an issue for us. The issue of preferential treatment. It will bring problems. So whether you are the boss of several people, or you are the parent of several children, or you are the leader of a group, preferential treatment is a source of trouble. Here it was trouble big time. It seems that they were really upset with him. Do we know exactly to what extent their father spoiled those two kids? We don't know. And this is what I mean. Quran cares about the message embedded in the story, not in the details of the story. The message is the feeling, and who will decide are the ones who are subject to the issue. Maybe if you ask Yaqub himself, he'll say, me? No, I never preferred anybody. And so many parents, you ask them, they say all the children are the same. But do the children feel that they are the same? This is what counts. This is really what counts, not what you feel. Most probably, all parents have all the children the same. But this is not the issue. The issue comes always in the behavior and in the attitude and in things. And if the children are not feeling that they are the same, then there is a problem that needs to be addressed. We'll go to the next one. And their solution to that is really very dramatic. It seems that this is a human nature, that nip it at the bud, get rid of the guy. And from the story, it seems that Yusuf was really the one who is more, in their perception, more spoiled and more preferred than even his brother. Because they didn't say get rid of both of them. They stated that both of them are more preferred, but when they wanted to get rid of the problem, they thought they get rid of Yusuf, not of his brother. And what is the story? Either you kill him or اطرحوه أرضا. اطرحوه أرضا, some commentator, I don't know how they translate it, means knock him down to the floor. No, اطرحوه أرضا mean toss him on a land that is far. Exile him, simply. We want him to disappear from the radar. And when you do that, يَخْلُ لَكُمْ وَجْهُ أَبِيكُمْ. This is a very human, tender issue. They are not vicious by nature. They wanted the attention of their father. When you get rid of him, you will have the attention of your father. And after that, everything will be good, and we might even repent. Qawman Salihin will behave after that. But just let us remove that nagging person, that sore thorn from here, and everything, life will be nice and dandy. And we will repent and we will become pious people, and we will become good people after that. This is the idea. This is the human drama here. And as I said in the beginning, the story of Yusuf is full of these human feelings and frailty and weaknesses and emotions in a mind-boggling way, really, sometimes. A smart one of them, or a nicer one of them, said, don't shed blood, don't go as far as killing him, don't kill Yusuf. And how can we exile him? We cannot take him far and leave him there, but that guy must have been really a smart elk. He said, drop him in the well, and al-jub means it is a shallow well, really. It's not to drown him. A shallow well in the desert where guaranteed caravans will come and seek water. And those caravans are moving. They are not settlers here. They are on the road. So when they find him, they will take him far. So a mission accomplished without being very bloody, without being, graphic. Drop the guy there in a shallow well. He will be hidden. Nobody will see him. He can't climb. But when they come to take the water, they will find him, and what they will do, they will take him with them, and this is exactly what happened. And he says that some of Sayyara means people who are mobile, who are moving. Even we call the car in Arabic Sayyara. It is moving. It will take him and go. Then it seems that this met the consensus, and I would say this was a kind of a democratic bunch. Someone comes with a nice idea, obviously they discussed it and made sense to them, so they agreed, and all of them go to the father now, and they ask him, مَا لَكَ لَا تَأْمَنَّا عَلَى يُوسُف? Why don't you trust us with Yusuf? That shows us that the father was more protective of this child. It seems that it was a pattern. Why don't you ever trust us with Yusuf? He is because of course in their mind he is your favorite baby. You don't want to trust anybody with him. So while we are very sincere to him, we are وَإِنَّ لَهُ لَنَصِحُونَ. Send him with us tomorrow, يرتع ويلعب, to play and run and enjoy himself, and we are his keepers. We'll take good care for him. The response of the father, قال إني ليحزنني أن تذهبوا به. It saddens me that you take him with you. And the expression here, it is not that I don't trust you. He loves him very much. I don't want him to go away. I'll be saddened if you take him. The fear element comes. I am afraid that the wolf may devour him. Obviously, it seems that they were in that area where there are beasts and wolves and things like that. And the wolf will devour him while you are not paying attention to him. وَأَنْتُمْ عَنْهُ غَافِلُونَ. You are big boys, you'll go and play and run and not pay enough attention to him. And I think any of the mothers or the fathers here who have little babies, sometimes the last thing you think about is to send them away with their older brothers. It is guaranteed that the older brother will put the baby somewhere and will go and play basketball or run or chase girls or whatever they do. And because they are not geared, they did not develop the emotion of a mother or of a father to keep the eye on the child all the time. So let us go to the next. Their response is kind of reassuring, arrogant, and at the same time conspiratorial and wicked. How can the wolf get him while we are a big group? If it happens, we are really useless. We are worth nothing. إِنَّ إِذًا لَخَاسِرُونَ. We should perish then. If amongst 9 people a wolf will come and snatch one, we better not be. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways, it seems that they convinced the father and they took him. وَأَجْمَعُوا. All of them decided that they will put him in that well and get rid of him. And here is the same issue, the parallel to what happened in the story of Musa. From a very helpless, hopeless, desperate, weak situation, power will emerge. That's the story to us. That's the lesson to us. As Musa was just in chess in the river, etc., with no protection, and because of that, he liberated his people, and he became Musa alayhi salam. The same thing with Yusuf here. From that very particular calamity that you cannot imagine, it can be more bleak than that. A young helpless kid in the darkness of a well without any help and without any care. The message here is, when you are in that narrow, dark, hopeless, helpless situation, don't ever imagine that God may not interfere to turn things around. It's a very important lesson to all of us as we go through our life, and very important to us as Muslims, actually, particularly these days. Don't be a crybaby. I mean, don't stop whining. Just be sure that this is not the end of the world, and these walls of the well are not the limits of the world. Something good might come out of that. You will see that theme and that motive repeated throughout the story of Yusuf. From every bad situation, something better came out. Repeatedly. This is what we have to make out of this story. So when they throw him, you expect that this kid will be very, very scared, but here the interference of the mercy of Allah, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِ لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. Allah suggested to him, inspired to him, that a day will come when you'll tell them about this event. So life will change, and you will tell them about what they have been doing. The rest of the story is identical in Genesis and in the Quran. وَجَاءُوا أَبَاهُمْ عِشَاءً يَبْكُونَ. Obviously they waited until night came. They wanted to be very well, they wanted the story to be believable. So at night they went to their father and they were crying. And they say exactly like their father expected. And sometimes to make your story believable, to make it the way the guy expected. They say, إِنَّا ذَهَبْنَا نَسْتَبِقْ. We went for a race, racing with each other. And we left Yusuf to take care of our bags and luggage and things. And guess what? The wolf ate him, devoured him. And they tell him something very interesting. And you will not believe us, even if we are telling you the truth. There is here that mixed emotions, whether they are feeling guilty, they are feeling scared, they are feeling exposed, they know that you are not going to believe us, but they can't just say you are not going to believe us because this means that they are liars, so even if we are telling the truth. So they are, now you see here the human aspect. You can imagine the human scenario that is taking place there. The next one. And they got his shirt and they put a fake blood on it. We don't know whether this is a blood of something else or red color or whatever. We don't know. But to make it very believable, they got the shirt with the blood on it. Like we are giving you the material evidence that this actually happened. Of course, at that time there was no DNA and there was no laboratory to tell what is what, but they offered him what can be an evidence. Jacob responds, بل سولت لكم أنفسكم أمرا. There is something you made up amongst yourselves. You conspired already. I know it. Number one, this man is a prophet. He's a very wise man. And he's their father. He should know. Tell me any father here when your child lied to you, didn't you see through it? We see through it. Most of the cases we pretended that we did not. But you can tell if the child is lying. He knew that they are lying. And his response, فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ, patience and perseverance in the nicest way. He's a firm believer in God. وَاللَّهُ الْمُسْتَعَانُ عَلَى مَا تَصِفُونَ. Allah is I'm seeking His help against your assertion. I know that Allah will expose the truth one day. Here also is a human emotion complex. In spite of this very deep faith, and in spite of him being sure that Allah will interfere, the rest of the story is showing us that he was deeply saddened and depressed and crying all the time. He missed his beloved baby. And there is nothing wrong with having this contradiction of emotions. This is only human, that while you are sure of the mercy of God, but you are sad that you missed the one you missed, and you are longing for him and crying for his return. We'll go to the next one. The story goes on like, yes, people who were travelers, Sayyara, mobile people, sent their guy to bring the water, and he celebrated, Ya Bushra Hadha Ghulam, because to find a boy is a great thing. They took him as he became now a chattel, goods, something good they can sell for money. And Quran interferes here saying, Wallahu alimun bima ya'malun. Allah is very knowledgeable about what they are doing. In other words, this is not just a developing story. There is a divine intervention here. These things are driven by the caring God who means that it goes this way for a better ending. And the interesting thing, Sharauhu here, by the way, those who are interested in Arabic, Shara means you buy, Shara means you sell. They sold him. And it is very interesting, and it cannot be just a coincidence, that God says that they sold him for a very cheap price. And one of the rare occasions to say, Darahima Ma'duda, a handful of coins. So, Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, himself, a prophet of God, was sold for few pennies, actually. And not only that, وكانوا فيه من الزاهدين, the ones who bought him were not interested really. Like a dump. So here is the other very glaring lesson. The value. It is the value, not the price. There is a difference between the value and the price. This very valuable being who has a significant role in history, valuable as he is, his price was very cheap. And from that very cheaply priced person, glory will come. So, as I told you, the motive that's repeated, it is not what meets the eye. Things are not what meets the eye. Don't be deluded and deceived by the appearances. For each story, there can be a very gloomy or a very attractive beginning. But what counts is the end of the story, not its beginning. And the end of the story can be completely different, as we saw with Musa, and as we will see with Yusuf. We'll go to the next one. So that was, that's it. So, in summary, the lessons that we could get from that portion of the story of Yusuf is, number one, the impact of preferential treatment. Number two, the human weaknesses on behalf of the siblings and of the brothers. Number three, the conspiratorial nature of a group. Number four, if you look to the story, Yusuf himself has nothing to do with anything. He didn't do anything wrong. If there is something wrong, might have been done by his father, not by him. He's just an innocent bystander. And from his helplessness and weakness and hopelessness, things will change. When he was priced very cheap, he ended up to be very wealthy, very rich, and extremely valuable. This is the way we should read the stories of the Quran. Otherwise, it will be short stories of Ernest Hemingway or Naguib Mahfouz or what have you. These are narratives by God for us to include very valuable lessons. We have time for 3 or 4 questions.
I have one.
Sure.
The second when Yaqub actually told the sons that I'm not there to take them and the wolf would devour him. This doesn't give, that actually gave the kid an idea that, well, this is a good reason, so you can, this is why they say from Joseph was devoured, actually, why wolf. So the same reason he was afraid, kids applied that.
Yeah, it is. This is, I think they were smart kids after all, because they chose a scenario which the father is expecting or afraid to happen. If they chose something completely different, he might have not believed them. But you were afraid that the wolf will eat him? He did. So it is more believable this way. All what they needed is to go crying, not to go during the day, but go during night, and go crying, shed as many tears as you can, and get a material evidence, a shirt with blood on it. They thought that this would be the end of the story. And as a matter of fact, it was the end of the story for several years until things changed. Any other? Yes, sir.
How's that story different than
Yeah. As I said, the story in Genesis and the story in the Quran are almost identical, but there are differences in the emphasis. The Quran concentrated more on the spirituality and the emotions, as we will see, and on the kind of the da'wah or things, while the Bible concentrated more on the details of the events and sometimes is very neutral vis-a-vis these events, mentioning the events without putting the touch of the emotions or the spirituality to the same extent that the Quran did. But if you take the events, the dream, the vision, what happens, etc., they are almost identical. Thank you very much. We will continue with the story next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.